So I want to tell you about a thing that we created as a church now about 4 years ago, a thing called the Blessing Fund. This was set up as a joint church between ourselves and All Saints. We recognised, as you'll hear regularly if you attend this church, that we recognise how many ways we are blessed. And from that, we wish to be a blessing to the communities in which we live, to our families, to our friends, those whose lives we touch on a day-by-day basis. And we recognise that one of the key ways that people needed to be supported is financially. Maybe with small gifts, maybe with slightly larger gifts, but financially to be able to address the day-to-day challenges that they may face, maybe temporarily, maybe longer term. So in December 2018, we created, as a combined church, a thing that we called the Blessing Fund. We didn't want it to be confusing. Blessing Fund, fairly obvious what it was there to do. We deliberately wanted to be able to support people locally, as I say, that we met on a day-to-day basis, those whose lives we shared. As a church, you'll be aware that we support a whole variety of activities, both corporately within Malvern, but also elsewhere in the United Kingdom and internationally. But what we didn't do was support each other one-on-one, or at least not corporately as a church. There were lots of activities, of course, going on to support one another and blessing one another, but we didn't do it as a church. So we created this fund. That date, possibly not insignificant, that was just a year, isn't it, before COVID. Some may say that God was in this, in creating something that would give us an opportunity to recognise what was coming and to be present and ready to be able to support those in our communities at most need, those most affected by what for many has been a financial challenge, a very significant financial challenge. We give away gifts of money, not significant amounts of money, possibly, at one end of the spectrum. One of our smallest gifts has been £20 to make a significant difference to somebody where they had a particular need. And we give away a variety of sums of money up to, say, £300 or £400 where there is a need. We created a little team of people, rather than it resting on the shoulders of somebody like Dave or Peter. We created a little team of people who receive a case, receive a description, brief description, usually anonymous for all the obvious reasons, of where there is a need. That group can review that need, make sure we are stewarding money appropriately rather than just giving it out without due care. So a small team of people made up of the treasurers and the wardens and a couple of other people just to review what that case is and then to make a gift, usually very quickly, often the same day, or at least within a day or so, to recognise an immediate need that somebody has. Helps to personalise this a bit, doesn't it? Let me tell you about the sorts of things that we have done over the last 4 years with this fund, 3 years with this fund. We provide basic clothing needs for various people. A common use of these funds has been to cover basic costs of living, where somebody's had an emergency, something's broken, they don't have the resources to pay for it. Can we help in some way, either with part of the cost or all of the cost, to replace something in an emergency? We helped somebody get a bike to be able to travel to work. We helped with the costs of weddings and sadly also with some funerals where people needed to incur cost at a time of challenge where they didn't have the resource. We'd helped somebody with some counselling costs, something that made a material difference to their ability to be able to cope with a particularly difficult circumstance they faced in their life. We've helped quite a number of CAP clients, Christians Against Poverty, which is a debt centre that we help run here from this church, but together with other churches in Malvern, where people have particular crises with debt. We've been able to support a number of people in that situation. We've helped some young people go on a trip where they couldn't afford to do so otherwise. So a whole variety of ways in which the funds have been able to support people. What sort of money are we talking about? Yeah? Not small amounts of money. Since we created this fund, we've raised almost £29,500, almost £30,000 has been given by people in this community, between us and All Saints, and we've given away about £18,500. I don't want you to do any maths on a Sunday morning, that's way too hard. So I've done the maths for you. That means we've got about £11,000 sat in our bank account, ready to be given away to need. I'm the treasurer of the church here. This bothers me. I don't like having money sat in our bank account that's been given to help people in need when I know that there are people in need in our community that we just don't know about yet. So one of the appeals I want to make today is to tell you about this fund, but also to ask you, who do you have contact with? Who are people who you meet on a day-to-day basis, for whom a gift, a small financial gift, could make a material difference, anonymously, through the church, to bless them as we wish to bless them as we have been blessed? Who does God put on your heart? Who do you meet? Who could you help with this? Even if you're not in a position to help them yourself financially, a fund has been set up to do that so that you can be a blessing to our community. How can you get involved? Please suggest needs to us. Those of us who are on the team of people who run this fund can only touch a certain number of people's lives and recognise a certain number of issues. It needs all of us to have our eyes open, to be listening to God, to saying, there's a need. Go ask for some funds in order for that person, for that family, for that situation to be touched and blessed by this church, by All Saints. So do please send an email or talk to Dave or to myself. I'm Andy Lymer, for those of you who don't know me, the treasurer here, or Paul Southern, who's the treasurer at All Saints. We can discuss that situation with you and put a small case to the team anonymously if that's appropriate. We're very happy to do that. Names don't need to be shared if that's a sensitive concern. And as I say, the group of people involved in this will make a decision very quickly, and money can be in somebody's bank account or in their hands literally within 24 hours to deal with an issue, if that's necessary. I said we've got £11,000. It'd be great to see that spent, but of course I know that £11,000 will not solve all the needs that we face in Malvern and those you touch. So if you do feel like you could contribute, I know we've just come off a month of asked for extra giving for this church to help raise funds for the activities we do and the new staffing needs. So I hesitate to ask for yet more funds. That may be appropriate. God may touch some of you to say you'd like to make a one-off gift to this, or you'd like to start contributing regularly. If that's not you, absolutely fine. We've got £11,000. We've got plenty of money to be able to support some need. But as that money is used up, we need to keep refilling that so that we can keep blessing people. So 2 ways in which you could engage with this. Is there somebody who you can see who could be helped with a small gift or a larger gift financially? Or could you give to this fund? My email address is there on the bottom. Please feel free to reach out. You know Dave's address already if we can help in any way. So some information about the Blessing Fund here at the church. Thanks, Dave.